The rain tapped gently against the car window, creating a rhythm that echoed the stillness inside. Mark stared out, lost in thoughts, while his 7-year-old daughter Lily hummed a lullaby in the back seat, cradling her doll. 3 years had passed since Sarah died, but her absence was a constant ache. Life had moved on, but his heart hadn't. Today, they were on a quiet drive through the countryside and had stopped at a small, cozy diner nestled in a sleepy town. As they walked in, the warm scent of freshly baked bread and coffee wrapped around them. Lily's eyes lit up as she glanced toward the counter, and then she tugged at her father's sleeve. "Dad, that waitress, she looks just like Mom." Mark blinked and followed her gaze. And then, he froze. Behind the counter stood a young woman, smiling at customers. Her features were hauntingly familiar. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear. The gentle tilt of her head. The softness in her eyes. Even her voice, when she greeted a table, held a familiar lilt. His breath caught in his throat. Was it just a coincidence? Or something more? The waitress walked over to their table with a warm, inviting smile. "Welcome in. First time here. Can I get you started with something warm?" Mark struggled to speak, but Lily was quick. "You look just like my mommy." The waitress paused for a second. Her smile faltered slightly, and her eyes shimmered with something unspoken. Then she leaned down and softly said, "Then your mommy must have been beautiful." As they ate, Mark couldn't stop stealing glances at the waitress. Her every movement stirred memories of Sarah, ones he had buried deep. And then he remembered something: Sarah was adopted. She had always wondered about her birth family. Could it be? After lunch, he waited until the waitress had a free moment and gently approached her. "Sorry if this is strange," he said softly, "but, were you adopted?" The waitress blinked, surprised. "Yes. I grew up in foster care. I don't know much about my biological family." "Why?" Mark hesitated, his heart pounding. "My wife, her name was Sarah. Sarah Cartwright. She was adopted too. And you remind me of her in every way." The young woman's expression changed. A stillness settled between them. "My name is Ella," she whispered. "I once saw a document at the orphanage. It mentioned a sister. S. Cartwright was scribbled in the margins. I never knew what it meant." Mark's eyes welled up. That was her. That was Sarah. Ella's lips trembled. "Then, she was my sister." They stood in silence, as years of longing, confusion, and unspoken prayers dissolved into one stunning moment of realization. In the weeks that followed, Ella slowly became a part of Mark and Lily's life. She visited on weekends, cooked meals, played board games with Lily, and told stories by the fireplace. One afternoon, Lily looked up at Ella and asked, "Will you stay with us forever?" Ella smiled and gently brushed Lily's hair. "If you'll have me, I won't ever leave." For the first time in years, Mark felt Sarah's presence, not as a memory, but as something alive and beautiful. Like her spirit had returned, not in form, but in connection. Through Ella. Months later, Mark was sorting through old boxes when he found Sarah's journal. Inside was a page that read, "If I ever find my sister, I hope she loves my child like her own." Mark closed the journal, heart full. She does, Sarah. She really does. On Christmas Eve, Lily placed a tiny gift under the tree with a tag that read, "For Mommy." Ella smiled and asked, "But sweetie, we can't give that to her, right?" Lily looked up, wise beyond her years. "It's for the mommy who's watching us from heaven. She'll know." Ella pulled her into a warm hug as Mark watched, his heart swelling with peace. Above them, the stars twinkled a little brighter. Somewhere. Sarah smiled too. Sometimes, the family we're searching for finds us in the most unexpected ways. Through love, loss, and the grace of a child's words, two souls, once separated, were reunited. Because true family isn't always about blood. Sometimes, it's about the bonds we feel. The faces we recognize without knowing why. And the moments when love brings someone back to us. Even if in a different form.